What's the stupidest reasons the TSA gave you a hard time? I got like 4 sarcastic answers in a row trying to figure out which line to join, pre-check or regular. Both lines backed up past the regular start, so there was no signs clearly visible, but there was an agent nearby. I asked casually which was pre-check, and he said if you don't know what pre-check is, then you don't belong in that line. When I clarified I knew what it was and just couldn't tell which, he said you don't think it's the one that's probably moving faster. When I pointed out that neither was moving especially quickly, he said well I guess it doesn't really matter then, does it? When I asked if there was a separate area for pre-check at a different spot, he said if there was, don't you think everyone would go there? Like guy, I don't want VIP treatment, I just want to know what fucking line to stand in. My girlfriend had TSA pre-check. I didn't. So my girlfriend said she wanted to go through the regular line with me because I had just had an eye surgery and couldn't see very well. We get to the check-in desk and the 2 TSA agents at the gate see she has pre-check but didn't get in that line and ask her why. She tells them she's helping me because of my eyesight. They give her a pre-check card anyway and tell me I can go with her. So we get to the pre-check line to go through the metal detectors and a woman in a wheelchair is in front of us and no one is checking the pre-check line, so we stand there for 10 minutes while all the people who were behind us in the regular line go through no problem. TSA finally comes back to the PC line and asks why I don't have a pass. I tell them. They tell me I have to go back and go through the body scan without my girlfriend. Okay, thanks for wasting my time. Now we are past the scanners where you put your shoes, and my stuff is already through the pre-check line's x-rays. But I can't put my shoes on that x-ray, so I have to go back, put those on the other line, come back and go through the body scanner. I get out the other side and they have to pat me down because I have a continuous glucose monitor stapled on my arm, combined with my suspicious behavior of trying to go through pre-check. Motherfuckers, you're the ones that told me to do it. I used to work at an airport and went through security all the time. We had an employee line, boo, it was the same deal. I would bring in bread and PB and J to save on lunches. I was once, not most the time I did it, only once, had TSA claim the peanut butter was a liquid and I couldn't bring it in. I was like, open it up and turn it upside down, it doesn't come out. Another time a pilot was ahead of me and had a small screwdriver set for his glasses or something. They tried to take it from him saying he could hurt someone. The pilot then screamed, I'm a fucking pilot, if I wanted to hurt someone I'd take the goddamn plane down. It didn't get him his screwdrivers through. Sometimes they just want to be right about something. I've never seen anyone argue and win with TSA. For knowing how their millimeter scanner worked. I'm a science nerd. I knew how the scanners work. They sense moisture. Like sweat that accumulates if something is strapped to your body. Like cash/drugs/items. So it was August. I was flying through an airport that had these scanners. When I fly casually, I bring a backpack and a small duffel bag. Backpack goes under the seat, duffel goes in the overhead. The backpack presses my shirt, which causes sweat to build up. So every time I go through the scanner I get a pat down. When I commented on that I knew I was getting a pat down, I had 5 TSA guys swarm me like I was a plate full of honey. Frisking, searching my bags, turning my bags inside out, drug testing every article of fabric I had. Accusing me of hiding something in my phone. It took 2 hours to get through. Thank God, I was smart enough to plan for delays and got to the airport 3 hours early. My husband's company is a content provider for ESPN, CBS, etc. I do tech ops for him. Flew to KCK, not Mo, to transmit arena soccer live. At the time, the magic box that does transmission was ridiculously expensive, so I carried it in a briefcase that never left my hands. Except to go through TSA. They open it, and see a small gray metal box with 2 prongs and a power cable, so over I go to the pat-down, question area. The guy is turning it over, trying to figure out what it is, while I explain. TSA guy doesn't like my answers, and demands to see an ESPN employee badge. I explain I'm a content provider, not an employee. Still doesn't let up. I open my cell phone and scroll to E, where I have about 50 phone numbers for people at the network. At this point, one of his co-workers leans over and says, "Hey dummy, unless you want to end up on Sports Center, and not in a good way, let her go ahead." Wife and I both had bottles of contact lens solution that were exactly the same and both well under the Oz limit. Mine went through fine. My wife got flagged for hers, and a belligerent TSA woman told her she couldn't bring it on the plane. I asked, why not? First, she said that the fact that it had a red cap meant that it was hazardous materials. I explained that it did not. It was just a warning not to put it directly in your eyes since this type needs to neutralize for several hours before you can use the contacts. Second, she said that it was because it was flammable. I explained that there was nothing in it that was at all flammable. Third, she said that it was because it was alcohol. I explained that it was peroxide-based and contained no alcohol at all. Fourth, she told me that this was never allowed on planes and she wasn't sure why I was fighting her on it. I explained that I've traveled dozens of times with this same solution for years, and that this was the first time I had ever even had anyone notice it. Fifth, I just threw it away and left. She was dumb as a rock, loud about her ignorance and clearly not going to budge now that she had quadrupled down on being completely wrong. I refused to go through the full-body X-ray while pregnant. I had read prior to going to the airport that I could refuse this and the agents would want me instead like they do for my dad's pacemaker. These 3 women TSA agents in Denver, Colorado didn't like that at all and went on a power trip. I honestly don't know why such a small, reasonable request would make them so upset. They all said, "Oh, that's silly. You'll be fine." "Sure, but I'm still not going through it." She goes, "Well, I'm going to have to call a supervisor." "Go for it, lady. I've got time." They were so unbelievably rude, mean and condescending after that. My shampoo bottle was 3.1 ounces, so they're like, "We're gonna have to confiscate this," in a sing-song voice. I was like, "You can keep the tiny bottle of shampoo, cunts." My husband had to stop me from losing my shit, just so we could get on the plane. My 5-year-old's very favorite 12 ounces Minecraft water bottle, at the bottom of his backpack under his stuffed animals and books and snacks for the flight, had about half an inch of water left in the bottom. It wasn't just his favorite because of the Minecraft theme, it was also the texture of the bottle and the perfect, according to Kiddo, mouthpiece. I offered to drink the water or empty it into the trash can. They had to hold all the full water bottles and whatnot. TSA took it and said they could throw it out, or I could wait for a free TSA agent who could walk me to the end of the line, where I could empty the bottle into a trash can in front of the agent, and then wait to go through security again. This was a very, very busy airport in the 20-teens and we'd already waited almost an hour to get through security. I had a choice between miss our flight and handle a major meltdown from a very tired 5-year-old who just saw his favorite water bottle be tossed in a trash can. I suppose a third choice could have been grab the bottle back and drink the water and probably get arrested. I chose to handle the meltdown and carry him through the line crying. It took him literally over a year to get over the idea that TSA could take his favorite things from him whenever they wanted. We fly a lot. Fuck TSA. We were traveling with a chocolate cake. They must have figured I molded it out of C4 or something because they x-rayed it twice, swabbed it, got a supervisor, etc. At another later time I was flagged for explosives residue as I had my shot targets in my bag from the indoor range I had been at. That one I sorta get. They decided my child's medication that has to be kept cold and has exemption stamped on it, plus letters, along with the syringes were a problem and they tried to separate him from me. Taking him into a windowless room. Papa Bear came out big time on that one. Agent actually tossed the ice pack in the trash, one of those long-duration gel-type ones specifically for medication and related. I not only refused to accept it back, I had a spare in check so only really needed ice for the flight, as it was now contaminated. I sent a bill to the TSA to replace it. I also made an unholy swear word-filled stink in the middle of security about the general low intellectual abilities of the agent that tossed it to the supervisor. Honestly shocked I made my flight. As a cherry on top, we're all TSA pre. So it's supposed to be smoother.